I'm going to show you now a new thing, and that's how to access Denise with API call functions. Now you've heard mention of this before, mostly by me. If you go here to your Guile 3D folder and go to SDK, and this one right here, click Edit. These contain the API call functions that belong to Denise, and I copied a few of them over here just to show you how we can work with these. In that SDK, this is how these are listed. You have like an ask authorization key, log in your password. To do like agent speak, it always asks for authorization key, and then the text is, the text to speak. Or for the chat input, authorization key, text equals. And I've turned a couple of these into a syntax that'll work with a browser for her local host URL. So we can run these like this, but we still need this key every time. So how do we get this key? And that is through this function right here, ask authorization, username, and password. And if you change username and password to your username and password, like I have right here, you can get a result like I'll show you right here. For this one right here, I'm going to copy just mine right here and paste it in the URL little thing here. And tell it to go there. And it returns this key right here. This key is what you need to access all the other API call functions. So our question is, now how do we acquire this key? Because it changes every time that Denise is started. So on this right here, this HTML document, if you right click and say inspect element, it opens up this thing called DOM Explorer, and you'll see that the key is held within the body of it. So we're going to call this key up by the body, and I'll show you why that's important later on, but you just have to remember that. So what we want to do is, I use AutoHotkey for this scripting, but you can use JavaScript, you can use HTML, you can use a lot of different scripting languages, but AutoHotkey is one that I'm familiar with. So what we want to do now is create a new AutoHotkey script, and we'll right click and we edit it, and we're going to move down a little ways, and we're going to create a script that's going to capture that key and put it in a variable that we can use later on throughout the rest of our script. So what we want to do first is create a little variable, and we're going to call it PWB. And I'm using this because it stands for point to web browser. And we're going to say that it equals, and we're going to create a COM object. Now COM is something that AutoHotkey has built into it that can access your network. So we want to create an object to begin with. So we're going to say COM object create, and we want to create an instance of Internet Explorer. So we do this by saying Internet Explorer, and we'll close that. And then we want to go to the next line, and we're going to define whether or not a couple of variables here, whether or not it's visible and whether or not we want to have a toolbar there. So we're going to say PWB dot visible, and we're going to say that equals true, and For toolbar, we're going to say PWB. And we're going to say that equals false. Alright. Now this should create our object. It's going to make it visible. And it's going to, toolbar is going to be false. And I'm just going to add a little space right here. I think it needs to have that. And underneath it here, we're just going to say sleep. 100. Give it a little time to do that stuff. And then we're going to say PWB dot navigate. And to navigate, we're going to navigate to the ask authorizations. So I'm going to go back here to this API file here. And what we want to do is ask for the authorization key. Now the login is, I'm going to use is my username and my password. But what you would want to do is change this and this to your name and user password. So I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste it right in here. And just before that, I'm going to start that with quotation marks. Not sure why, but it always requires it. And at the end, it's going to require a closing quote and parenthesis. And then while this is doing this, this is something you just always have to add. And I'm not sure why, but it always works. While PWB ready state does not equal for sleep and 100. Alright. Now, I have my login name. I have this. It's going to show this. Let's see what happens so far. Save. I'm going to get rid of that one. I wasn't sure which one I was working in here. Says I have a error, and it's probably right here and right here. Now let's see what we have. Save. Invalid class string. Autocorrect in Explorer. Let's see what we have here. Internet. Oh, here we go. I forgot something right here. Dot application. Okay. See, I'm new at this. I'm learning it. But this way you see through my mistakes what happens. Alright. I'll save that. Now. Alright. It's returned the key. And this key changes every time Denise restarts. And that's good. Now, we're going to move on right here. Next line, we want to set a variable to store that key in. So we're going to say var1 equals pwb dot document dot get elements by tag name. Get rid of one of those. Okay, get elements by tag name. And remember that key was in the body of the HTML. So that's what we want to get it by. So we're going to say body. And the line that it was in was 0. Because in computer language, the first line of anything is line 0. And then 1 and all. And what we want to get out of that line is the inner text. So we're going to say inner text. And that should do that. And if we wanted to see what that was, we could probably do a message box in variable 1, but I guarantee that this is going to save it. Let's see, get elements by tag. Okay, so now all we want to do is send a text to Denise. So let's go to PWB, navigate, and we're going to put a parenthesis and a quotation, and then we want to pick up another one of these, this API command here, and let's use text. Let's see, agent speak. Alright, let's take this, copy it, and put that in right there. And at the end, we'll put the parenthesis. And at the bottom of that, let's see, return. Okay, now where it says key right here, this is where the key needs to be. Now we've already picked up the key right up in here. We've assigned it to variable 1. It got the element by tag name, the body, so that should be the key, and assigned it to variable 1. So right in here where it says key, we're going to say variable 1. Go to backspace 3 here, and we're going to use a quote right here, and say var1, and you have to have a space, and we'll see what happens here. Save.
Text for Denise to speak.
Alright, and that worked just fine. Now if we went back here and changed the visibility, let's change this to false. Now if I activate this script, we're going to say save.
Text for Denise to speak.
Now she'll speak whatever I want. Now why is this important? Well, we can add all kinds of functions in here. For this second part here, after the variable has been set, this navigate to agent speak, we can do agent chat, we can do all kinds of things. I'll give you an example right here. I'm going to make sure nothing's running here in the background. This one right here. I'm going to push F6.
You must have pushed F6.
Now I'm going to push F1.
Now you must have pushed F1 because this is what you told me to say if you pushed F1.
I'm going to push F2.
Oh no, you pushed F2.
I'm going to push F3.
I knew F3 was next, didn't you?
And now the application has exited. Nothing running in the background. There's other things we can do with this. I created this one. This uses the same authorization and get and everything, but what I've done was added a on clipboard change. And on clipboard change, the clipboard becomes variable 2. So when I have her speak, there's variable 1 that has her key, and then what she speaks is variable 2. So if I run this, whatever I copy to the clipboard, she automatically speaks. I'll give you an example of this. I'm going to start
Text
it.
for Denise to speak.
Now I'm going to open up anything here. Let's say I copy agent speak. Right click, copy.
Agent speak.
Or let's close that and open up something else here. Or get elements by tag name. Copy.
Get elements by tag name.
Anything that I copy to my clipboard, she'll automatically read. Here, Mozilla Firefox.
Mozilla Firefox.
You know? So, I'm going to turn that script off right here. And that's what enabled me to create this. Because AutoHotkey has the ability to compile your scripts and turn them into an execution file. So, here's an execution file I created. I'm going to double click this.
It's your move.
Alright. I'm going to take a computer and put coordinates here. And it's my move apparently. So if I move something,
D7 moves to D5. It's your move.
alright, it's my move again, huh? Move here.
D5 moves to E4. It's your move.
And the like. So that's what enabled me to do that. I'm hoping that this is going to open up some doors. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to share any of this stuff with you. There's enormous potential for this. The scripts can be sent to Denise on one computer from another computer on your network. There's just hundreds of ideas, and I've got much more to show. Let me know what you think.